Is your past holding you back? Is it? We'll find out, and I'll let you know in a little bit in a few seconds. First, I'm gonna thank the people that are actually following me, and please take the time to follow and like. And I'm gonna say hello to my inner circle members. That's the IC next to their name. And so, hi, Bill. Hi, Jerome, Faith, James, Arthur, Kai, Paul, Lisa Marie, Mike, John, Hola, Vernay, Sandy, James, my son Matthew, Melody. Happy Friday to you guys as well. And this is going to be a great happy new day to you. Happy new day to you. Hi, Eric. So let's get started. Hello, my name is Robert Hollis. I hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day. And today's subject is your past holding you back? Is your past holding you back? Now, the first thing I'm going to share with you is just a couple of personal stories from me and how I noticed that my past was holding me back. So, I'm not going to go into the whole entire story, but, you can go to roberthollis.com/free and get a copy of my best-selling book, How Is That Working? Rat Race to Freedom. And so, I didn't have a good childhood at all. I was taken away from my parents and put in foster homes and orphanages and stuff like that. And even as soon as I turned 18, I got incarcerated and spent time in a federal prison because of the people I was hanging around. Don't get crazy. I stole a semi truck full of beer and held a high school party. Still not good. Still not good. But, there's this thing, it's called abandonment issues, right? And so I know that a lot of you may or may not believe this. So I'm just going to share it from my perception, my story is that we have a tendency of doing what we call self-fulfilling prophecies, because whether you believe this or not, thoughts are real. Thoughts are real. So you can go on YouTube and put in The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Still to this date, the number one listen album of all time as far as spoken word. Thank you very much, Jerome. I love and appreciate you. The children, I give money to orphans and children that are not with their parents. And so there became this thing where in the foster homes is they don't allow you to stay very long. I don't know what the psychology is. You don't get attached to people that are not your parents, right? And so I just didn't know why, as a young boy, I just didn't understand why nobody wanted me. So I would do my best not to become emotionally connected with people because I knew they were going to break my heart. I knew they were going to break my heart. And what I did is when this happened to me, then I could say, see, I told you. See, I told you. It happened to me again. And so I just kept doing this self-fulfilling prophecy. And then of course, now all of a sudden I'm going to college. There was a girl that was my same grade in high school, and we got married. And she came home one day and said, I don't want to be married to you anymore. We had an 18-month-old son. His name is Robert Hollis Jr. Now he's been married to Amy, and they have my grandkids, Ryder and Olive, that are 9 and 7. So, all of a sudden it's like, I said, you're not taking my son. And she said, I don't want to be married or have a kid. So off she went. Right. And so when all of a sudden I meet my wife now that I've known for 40 years, when I first met her, because I had been hurt in the past, I said things like this. I'm never getting married again. I'm never getting married again. Everyone that I give my heart to and connect with hurts me. So the best way for me not to be hurt again is just not to get emotionally involved with somebody. And so that non-trusting, that not giving someone all of me is not a healthy in any way, shape, or form. And so one of the things that I didn't realize at the time, I did a video, you guys can look for it, how do stupid people know that they're stupid? Do stupid people know that they're stupid? And this is this whole philosophy about, if you're a fish, do you know that you're in water? You know what I mean? If you're born in water and the whole entire time you're in water, do you know that there's water there? You know? And so I really, really didn't know it at the time. But that was a self-fulfilling prophecy for me. Because of my past kept repeating. Because of my past kept repeating. Because of my past kept repeating. Oh, there you go. All right. So people are going, is this a broken record? No, I need you to really, really understand. And here's what's funny about people, right? They tell you they're over their past. They tell you they're over their past. But every time you talk to them, they mention something in their past. And it's not positive. It's not positive. So people go, no. I had a bad childhood. My dad was this, my mom was this, my siblings were this, my uncle, whatever, was this. And see, they keep saying that stuff, but they tell you they're over their past. If they were over their past, when they talk about their past, they would talk positive about their past. That's another video I did. Glory days. You can search on my YouTube channel, Robert Hollis, youtube.com/Robert Hollis. And you can just put in my little, magnifying glass, the search feature, and just put in glory days, because that's living in the past, but in a positive way. Oh my God, I love being a high school football player, whatever, this happened. And so in life, I'll be 62, the February coming up here. And one of the things I've noticed about people is they talk about the pains and the trauma of the past. Now, what I'm going to say to you right now is not easy. It is not easy at all. But what you got to do is learn to reframe your thoughts of the past. And you got to, accept it, but accept it in a way that it's okay. So, of course, you guys know my story 37 years ago. I meet this guy and he's got a lot of cool books for me. This is one of my favorites, The Greatest Miracle in the World. This book changed every spot on me. You ever heard that a leopard can't change his spots? This changed every spot on me. My mentality before this book and before I learned from mentors that changed their life is thank you very much, Bill. Love and appreciate you. Oh my God, the kids are loving this today. And so what ended up happening is I meet this guy, right? And the first thing that he tells me is write a list. Write a list. We go to this 5-day seminar. And he says, write a list of everyone you resent that did bad things to you. And write down, I blah, 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 because of this, da, 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 da. And at that time, I had a pretty good list of people, right? That I had resentment with, that I was angry at, that I expected that they owed me apology. They owed me to say that they were sorry and they made a mistake, all this stuff, maybe even I appreciate you and I love you. Yeah. So my mentors turn around and tell me, Robert, what if you never get that from them? You never, ever, ever get that. And so all of a sudden, I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, listen, forgiving people, forgiving all the awful stuff that happened in your past does not mean that they're not responsible for what they did for you. So that's where this phrase came from, that you holding grudges and anger and hate and trauma and all this stuff from your past is really you wanting something bad to happen to them, but you're drinking the poison. You're drinking the poison. And I tell people all the time, you should record your conversations, because if you realize how fast you'll bring up something from your past and how it's unpleasant, then mentally, why would your brain allow you to do it again? It won't. Did you hear me? It won't. So I run into people, talk about relationships, talk about, now let's talk about business, right? So now people go, they're out there getting a job, they're sick and tired of their lives, and now they want to get involved in a business. And as soon as they open up their mind, a mind's like a parachute. When it's open, it works. Now all of a sudden you go, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And because you haven't learned lessons yet, they're not mistakes. See, I'll share with you the reframing in a second. So as soon as you reframe them, it's a lesson. It's something I needed to learn, good or bad. It's really up to you that makes it good or bad. And so all of a sudden they go, well, I've done this before and it didn't work. Bad past. Well, hey, you should look at my company. No, thank you. I've done this many times and it doesn't work. I've given money to people and they took advantage of me. They stole from me. They embezzled from me. So see, all these things are in there. And then now you're trying to make decisions to move forward in life, to have a better life, to have a more fulfilled and happy life, a better financial life, more freedom. And you're not stepping into that comfort zone. Into that non-comfort zone, to do it long enough to get comfortable with it, because you believe that you're going to get hurt again. You believe that you're going to get abandoned again. Wow. Huh? So how would this work if you were all of a sudden trying to find other people to build an organization of like-minded people that wanted to move money away from Walmart, Target, Costco, and Amazon? And that people are making money. You've seen my back office. You know that I've helped other people have an incredible back office. The products are working, but yet every single day you do nothing. What I'm going to tell you it is, and if you listen really closely, it's like putting your hand on a burner. Everyone tells you, hey, don't touch the oven, it's hot. Don't touch that burner, it's hot. Wham. Ah! You learned a lesson. Is that a mistake? Depending on your framing, depending on your perspective. So all of a sudden, when I started learning from these people, and I remember writing this all down, right? And then the exercise, holy crap, this exercise I'll never forget, because it's a significant emotional event. What a significant emotional event is when something happens to you and it's not good. And so then what you do is it really anchors in you. I'll give you a neat example. A song will play, and whoop, right back to that person that got beat up or hurt or injured or broken heart, or someone said something bad and nasty to you and it crushed you. So we have a tendency of remembering where we were, what was around us, what kind of smells, what did we hear? And those are called triggers. And so I write down all this stuff, and then out of nowhere, my mentor tells us, hey, pair up with somebody, and I want you to visually think about the person that wronged you, that hurt you, that abused you. And I want you to think about them, and I need you to give them a piece of your mind from your heart. Just go off on them. And so, I'm pretty introverted. I'm this geek from the dork forest. I'm going like, I don't know about this stuff. And so I'm like, sharing with this guy what's going on. And I'm saying, unless I was talking about my father, and you beat me up, and you always called me names and said I was worthless, and you abused me in every way, and you beat up my mom, and then you got arrested, and then you ran from the cops, and when you got out, and I've never seen you since, you da 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 da. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my one of my mentors pushed the person out of the way and got in my face and even started pushing me. And they go, you're a piece of shit. You're worthless. You'll never amount to anything. Just started going off on me. And so I went off back for real. All of a sudden, all this pinned up anger, this ugly stuff that I had in me. I know this is going to sound weird, you guys, but I never ever remember really crying before that. So I was going off on them, right? And I talked about my mother, and I just went, just bananas, all these people that hurt me. And then all of a sudden we sit down, right? He says, take this piece of paper that you wrote these resentments on, let's crumble it up. And we all walked outside. And we walked outside. It was in Coronado Island. Thank you. And right outside of San Diego. And we walked out of this big 5-day event, and we walked out, and there was a giant bonfire. And they said, you know what? You're going to throw these things in the fire, and they're burnt and they're gone. They're burnt, they're gone. When I did that, I started crying, and I have never, ever, ever sobbed and cried so hard. My wife was there, Terry, and it was just like, oh my God, and I was so embarrassed. I remember thoughts in my mind of being, so embarrassed because I was looking side to side. And there's literally hundreds of people there that are having some kind of emotional response as well. But man, if there was a award for crying and uncontrollably not being able to catch my breath because I was sobbing so hard, I would have won it. I would have won it. And I was like, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced something on an emotional side that took over your body. And it was uncontrollable. It was like I couldn't stop it. Every time I was thinking in my mind, I'm being embarrassed, I got to stop this, it would well up and come back out there. And that's when everything changed for me. Because then we walked in, and he said, I want you to write down again the names of the people that you just went off of. We burnt it. And you're not doing it for them. Forgiveness is not for them. This is not condoning anything they said or did. But what I want you to do is I want you to write it down. And now what I want you to do is put it in a word phrase that makes it positive for who you are today. I'm like, what? So, I would say, listen, Dad, thank you for being abusive to me. And thank you for not being the father that I wish I had, because that allowed me to be an incredible father to my sons, to be an incredible father to my daughter-in-laws, to allow me to be the grandparent that you never was. See, my father left, when I was like 13 years old. Haven't seen him since. So he never got to meet his grandkids, never got to meet my wife. And so I wrote down, and they told you to keep writing them down, So, thank you because you did this. I need to thank you because that made me the person I am today. I'm more loving. I don't want to abandon anybody. I want to always be there for them, So all these things, they made us write this down. And I remember as soon as I wrote that down, that it dissipated. I don't know if you guys can possibly believe this, but can you imagine looking at your past and everything that you think about when you think about your past, you're grateful and thankful that allowed you to be who you are today, that it's really unfortunate that people have to go through the worst kind of trauma and the worst kind of awful things on the planet, but they made you who you are today. And so when all of a sudden I did that, then you guys know the concept that, when you're looking at something, then it comes to you. And it wasn't very long after that where I'm not an avid watcher of Oprah, but I seen a thing that she wrote, and she talked about, she, believe it or not, Oprah Winfrey, I think, did the very first televisual course, and she did it with Eric Tolle and his works. I think at that time it was a book called The Now, and and Eric Tolle was telling her that she should be thankful for her mom and dad, sort of abandoned her. She was raised by her grandmother, and then through a relative, that uncle, I believe it was, not only raped her as she was a young girl, but she became pregnant and she lost the baby. And so, Eric Tolle was telling her, listen, some of the stuff that you harbor against that, your goal is not to forgive them, but thank them. Not personally, not walking up and saying, thank you for abusing me. But you got to thank them that because they did what they did, that you started doing the things you did that made you the person you are today. Because if you don't love yourself, if you don't think that you're a miracle, if you don't think that you proclaim your uniqueness because no one's got your DNA, if you don't think you're worthy, you don't think you're enough, then how can you move forward? You can't, because you didn't release it. So when all of a sudden I heard her saying, I'm grateful and thankful that my parents did what they did, that my grandma did what she did, that, people that were around me did what they did because it made me the person I am today. And now, because of that test in my life and that trauma and that awfulness in my life, now I'm a testimony. You can have a testimony or a story unless you go through a test. And so I want you to really think about this, because now when I look back, and my son Matthew's on here, a lot of people like, Craig and Melody, people that have known me for years, all of a sudden, I think it's my childhood as wonderful. I now look at everything that's happened in my past, and it's wonderful because it made me who I am today. So no, let's wrap in the future really quick before I end. Have I had people that have still taken advantage of me? Yes. I had a guy that embezzled me for a lot of money. I've had a lot of people that have stolen money from me or stolen things from me. I've invested a lot of energy and power into something, and all of a sudden had it taken away. So, I built a large group in this company right here, NSA. And then my mentor decided to start his own company called Equinox. It's no longer in business. That got me on 2020 with Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters and John Stossel. And, none of those would have happened. But when we went from NSA to Equinox, he made a decision along with other people that they would take 60% of my group, John Alden, and 60% of my group, and take it away from me. I don't know how you justify that, but the way that he justified it is he said, well, you know what? I'm doing it to everybody. So he didn't just do it to me. He did it to every leader that he had. He took their biggest leg and gave it to somebody else. Why? Because he wanted 5 founders to the company. And so when they became founders, they went front level to the company and he took them away from the leaders that were already there. I thought I could get over it. I couldn't. So I was only with Equinox for 9 months. And they had this thing called the Knights of the Round Table. You couldn't get any higher. I was not only a national marketing director, but the top position, international marketing director. I was one of the top 5 income earners for customers and recruits. And I walked away. 9 months, I walked away. We had a big meeting in Vegas. I stood up because of the stuff that I learned from him. And I said, listen, Sherry, John, and Bill, I want to thank you for taking 30-some thousand people out of my group, because now I'm tithing that. And I expect the universe, God, whatever you believe, to give me 100-fold return. And I ended up with, 2.6 million customers in a company and 758,000 active affiliates in another. And it's like, because I took what they did to hurt me and I turned it around. So, a lot of people that I talk to want to tell me their nightmare story of how someone became a partner with them and stole money from them, or how, someone hurt them in a company, or how I've been with companies that went out of business. This is Pro Travel Network, one of the top reps in that company as well. And in a blink of an eye, this guy didn't want to change anything and destroyed the company. It's like, oh my God, I got to start over again. So, ended in a bad experience, 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 ended in a bad experience. Where else are we here? Ended in a bad experience. If everything went awesome and the way that I wanted it to go, I'd still be with those companies. So you get people all the time. I got some really, really close friends, super close friends. And I talk to them today and they'll say this, oh my God, remember when we were in so-and-so company? Remember when we were in so-and-so company? Remember when we're in so-and-so company? And I go, yeah, man, if that owner didn't mess up, man, if those people didn't mess up, and they're just still hurt. They're still extremely hurt and crushed. And the way they think about their past is pain. Is pain. So why would they do another company? Because it's just going to end up in pain. What if you could reframe it? What if you could go, wow, I don't know if you guys know this. It's going to crack you up. But, I was in elementary school, and where I went to elementary school that was 1st grade to 6th grade. And then, oh my God, I had to leave elementary school and go to junior high. Oh my God, that's 7th and 8th grade. Oh my God. I had to start over, and I was just, getting close to some people, and now all of a sudden, we're going into a whole new group of people. So every time I went to change schools, from, foster home to foster home, and go to different schools. Now I got to relearn my friends all over. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, wow. See, all of a sudden, when you think about it, wasn't you expected to go to junior high? Wasn't you expected to leave 8th grade and go to high school? Oh my God. Now I'm a freshman. Now all the kids from all the elementary schools are now in this one grade. Oh my God, I got to start over already. Now, I used to be a big deal and now I'm not a big deal. And it's like, wow. So if there was always a negative stigma to you learning and being always in the niche that you wasn't the cool kid, you're a geek from the dork forest, or Motorhead. You know what I mean? I wasn't part of the jock team, and I wasn't part of the, the stoner group. You know what I mean? I wasn't, in the bookworm kind of people. Oh my God, they never ever talk about proclaiming your uniqueness. The only niche you need is yours. And you can find other people in that niche. So a lot of people, when I meet them, they tell me they're over the past, but all they talk about is, oh, remember this? Hey, remember this? Hey, look at this. You say, look at these graphics. Look at these trophies. You know what I mean? Remember this? Remember this? I'm going, no, remember this? See, this is the company that we've been in for almost 6 years. Yeah, remember this? Remember this? See, these are all trophies that I've gotten in the last 5 years. Remember this? Remember this? Remember that? That's the kind of people you want to learn from, is people that are creating success stories today. Today. So that's why when people say, oh my God, I can't believe I was making this much money and then the company got destroyed and now all those people have scattered. And so now what they do is they can't go back and do what they did when they first got in. See, that was the ignorance on fire. See, that was the peak of their enthusiasm, when they don't know a lot. You know what I mean? They're just all excited. And when they were all excited, who did they talk to? Everybody. See, they went through their friends and family list, and me personally. I went through my family and everyone I knew personally. I was able to do that my first 2 days. Wasn't a lot of them, but why not reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I was wondering if you could do me a huge favor. And then you got people that get in now because of their past, and they go, oh my God, I can't call my friends and family. I don't want to, I don't like them. They don't like me. See, that's okay. That's another reason, right? But bottom line, if you can't switch your paradigm, your perspective, and feel comfortable reaching out to total strangers, because that's what I did my first years. In my first years, I talked to strangers all day, every day. Then what happens? Oh, see, we think about rejection. We think about people that said no. We think about people that might have said not nice things to us. And we go, oh, I don't want to go through that rejection again. I don't want to, have people pitching me on their company. See, that's all painful. Instead of saying, if I go through those people and somehow excite them to get them to introduce me to a stranger, a person I don't know, that will see this perception for the first time, and they'll come in, they're not worried about their past trauma. So if in our mind we believe that every time we try to do something, we're still remembering the bad experience of the thing that we tried, why would you do it again? So you got to just reframe it. Now I look at, man, this was first grade. This was second grade. This was junior high. These are high school. I'm just constantly learning. Each lesson brings me to not mistake, not failure, not I need to go back and firebomb their place and they're bad people. And that guy's, I got so many close friends that I made money with in these companies. And every time I talk about that, hey, how are things going? Oh my God, can you imagine if that effing owner and that effing person and that effing that and this and effing that? I'm going like, dude, I was calling you to talk about the future. I called to talk to you about the people that don't know anything about this industry. There's people in countries that are on their knees begging and praying for someone like you that knows how to introduce them to getting their first income from another source. So the question is, if you're not moving forward, if you don't have a vision and a daydream of what can happen in the future, and you have that excitement and you're looking forward to it, but you don't do anything, I'd let go of your past. I'd find ways to help you reframe the thoughts in your mind on how to, hey, I guess I had to learn that lesson. Me, I'll give you one last one. There's a part of me that always wanted to prove those people wrong. I think social media is the coolest thing in the world. Another reframe. People created social media to allow me to get bald for free, and now I can reach out to billions of people to find those that have ears to hear. Wow. Wow. Now, do I have to go through a lot of people that are at the wrong time at the wrong place in their life? Absolutely. Is it worth it? Oh my God, is it worth it? To have the freedom, the lifestyle that I have. Today, I got an incredible testimonial from Sarah. Thank you so much. I think I seen you on here. Thank you so much for that heart-filled message. It melted me. So now I can go from, person to person to person where they know that they now can do this business. And I live on those testimonies. I love those testimonies instead of talking to people that are like, oh my God, if you knew how bad, last week was. And, it's like, wow, 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 wow. So I hope this helped you a little bit. Ask yourself what in your past is holding you back, because you know the things that you need to do to become, happy and fulfilled. You know what you need to do. So when you know what you need to do and then you don't do it, then you got to figure out why. It's probably subconscious going, oh my God, if you do this again, it's going to hurt again. I love and appreciate you. I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it. And if no one's ever given you permission to be fulfilled and happy and successful, let me be the first. My mentors did that for me. They introduced me to things that I didn't know. And once I was able to shift that paradigm, change that framing, change that perspective, think in new ways, ask different questions, it allowed me to create a different me. And I'm far from done. I'm far from working on this and this and this. So do me a huge favor, share this video with people that you think that are stuck. And maybe you'll get to them, maybe you'll speak to them, and maybe it won't. But those that have ears to hear, I'm looking forward to working and helping you build an empire of your own to impact a lot of people, including you and your own family. So bye for now. We'll see you on the next video. I think tomorrow is Ask Me Anything. You can go to roberthollis.com/AMA, initials for Ask Me Anything. We'll be live tomorrow at 12 Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. See you on there. You can come on there and ask me anything about anything. So happy new day to you, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now.